Okay, so in the last couple videos, we have learned how to have our VTuber blink, how to look around. She can talk. And she has a little bit of extra parameters that help with the talking thing. And of course, her eyebrows are linked into everything as well. So her face has the expression, it has movement. And now, obviously, when you see most VTubers, their head does move. So we got to get her head moving. But first, one thing that I mentioned from the very beginning is I am lazy when it comes to doing meshes, and I do them kind of as I go. So first thing we want to do is we want to start meshing the hair because that's going to be very important. We did mesh the face in the last video. We're going to press the mirror edit again, and our thing is not on center in this VTuber, so I'm going to center it. But since I drew everything very symmetrically, it's going to help me out a little bit in terms of the mesh time because I am going to be able to at least copy, paste, and flip meshes over. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to click on the number 1, and we are going to just simply trace the outline of it. I'm going to show you guys how I would mesh hair normally. Because if you have a really good hair mesh, then you're going to have not a lot of problems, which is what we strive for, is not a lot of problems. I'm going to lower that repeated density there and get that to just kind of follow the outline. Link these up. Now, I didn't do the best job with putting that right in the center of the mirror. For some reason, I think it shifted. So what we are going to have to do is take this and kind of move it over just slightly so that way it's a little bit more. Don't know what I did wrong there, but must have been me. And then I'm just going to edit those. Now I'm going to take all of this, I'm going to copy, paste it, and then I'm going to Alt Shift that to be a little bigger. Oh. Interesting. It is being weird. So I guess let me see if I can do that again. And I'm going to take the mirror edit off, copy, paste, Alt Shift. There we go. Alt. Make that bigger. Now that method doesn't work all the time. But since this is a pretty, I don't know, basic square rectangular-ish shaped piece, it's going to work here. Let's click that, and then I'm going to open the mirror edit again, but I'm going to get it a little bit more in the center there. I think last time I was at that, and that's what I need it to be at. So I'm going to do that, and then I am going to put this all the way down. And the point of what I'm doing here in terms of manually meshing this hair is I kind of just want to take like specific points of interest that make sense to be points of interest and make sure that the hair can follow all that. So like wrapping the mesh kind of around this break in the hair here. And then at the very end, I'm just going to auto-connect everything. And it is meshed. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to mesh everything else. And I will kind of just speed that up, not really talk through it. And I'm going to get the mesh done. Meshing can take a while. So we would be here for literally hours if I explained every little part. But I just figured I'd at least explain the hair mesh through that and kind of show you the end results. Really quick, one thing I want to show is that these bangs are completely symmetrical layers. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy it. We are going to go over to the opposite bang that does reflect it perfectly. We're going to paste, and then I am going to click my arrow button. We are going to flip horizontally, and I'm just going to move that so it kind of makes sense with it and matches up a little bit more since my canvas is a little off center. And there we go. Real quick, for thinner strands of hair like this, I actually don't go out of my way to do the kind of double outline layer of the mesh. I am just going to do what I would do like on the eyebrow, where I create this 3 vertical mesh line with my handy dandy pen that I use for absolutely everything, and I will kind of just do it like that. I feel honestly, when it's just thin little pieces like that on hair, it works all the same personally for me. And I'm going to make that a little bit wider, but as long as it all fits in, just like the, you know, eyebrows or whatever, as long as it's all fitting within the mesh, we should be good. One thing I want to know, and I had mentioned this prior, is I think I mentioned this prior, or I could have mentioned it in my mesh video. Since this piece of hair is a little bit larger than, let's say, the eyes or the eyebrows, I've continued to use my handy dandy pen tool, but as you can see, there's a little bit of lagging going on, which partly is also probably because I made it very wide and it doesn't need to be that wide. Once it starts getting to this point, and that can happen all the time, it's not a computer issue, it's not anything like that. Um it might be a good indication to just start with that specific piece of mesh, start manually meshing it just with the pin, the add pinpoint tool. I know none of the names until I hover over them. You can notice as we have made this a little bit thinner, it's not as wide. There's less basically like little mesh points in there, so it's not lagging as much. But still, regardless, it kind of was giving the warning signs, so I am not going to be using that anymore within this specific mesh for this hairpiece. I'll use it on the next one, but ideally I could have just put a line straight down here. I don't think I'll do that because uh, I don't want to overwork the file. I don't want to overwork my computer just for that one little piece, so I can take the time to do it this way. That's okay. In the off chance that you possibly didn't make something completely symmetrical, and the only thing I did different here was the root of it, you can still copy and paste, and then of course you can always add to the mesh, as I just did. I only did that so that way I could ensure that the head had enough overlap and coverage here, because we didn't want any lines being exposed through cutting. So real quick, if you are using the practice model that I provided, I just realized that I mislabeled the back hair, just the sides. This should be L1 and L2 should be R1 and R2. Just not that it's a huge deal, but you could just simply change it. Okay, so everything within the hair area has been meshed from front to back, which I know it's a little bit tedious to have to go and do all of that. I mean, personally, it took me almost 40 minutes to do everything. On longer hair, I've had hair where it's taken me like 6 hours to do before. It just depends. And yeah, it is really tedious, but I promise that like manually meshing hair is one of the best things you can do for the model, in terms of movement, in terms of just making your life easy in the long run. um Basically working smarter not harder, because if you have a really bad mesh on the hair, it is going to be super hard to correct later. So I am going to actually end this video here because there was so much time spent on meshing the hair, and then the next video we will start officially doing head angles.